From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, November the 14th, 2019. A delicate ceasefire has been mostly holding today in Israel. An Egyptian brokered agreement between Palestinian terror groups in Gaza and Israel was reached in the pre-dawn hours of this morning, with initially a few hours of quiet that has been interrupted by intermittent rockets fired from Gaza. There does seem, though, to be relative calm as of the time of the taping of this newscast. Earlier today, the IDF reopened 2 border crossings into Gaza and eased other restrictions. Schools in central and southern Israel that were closed during the 2-day barrage have been reopened for the most part, but Israeli communities near the Gaza border decided to close schools tomorrow there, as well as the ceasefire remains tenuous. According to the IDF, 450 rockets were fired at Israel in 48 hours of Tuesday and Wednesday, many landing in open areas, 3 landing on and damaging homes, most intercepted by the Iron Dome. A reported 58 Israelis were treated with medical attention, several for light injuries from shrapnel and glass, many from anxiety and shock. According to terror group Hamas, who controls Gaza, there were 34 Gazan casualties in the IDF retaliation for the rockets, with Israel stating that at least 25 of those killed were terrorists, reportedly including a terrorist said to be in charge of Islamic Jihad's rocket unit, Rasmi Abu Malhous, who was killed in an overnight strike last night, which reportedly also killed several members of his family. IDF spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus told reporters today he did not have information about the reports about the family members of the terrorist, but noted that in general, Islamic Jihad commanders used their homes to store weapons, making them legitimate targets. He said all of our operations were measured, proportionate, and focused only on military assets belonging to the Islamic Jihad. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thanked the soldiers and commanders of the IDF for their defense of Israel during this latest escalation from Gaza, tweeting, "The goals of the operation have now been fully achieved. The goal of the operation was to target the commander of Islamic Jihad in the Gaza Strip," referring there to the assassination overnight Monday of Baha Abu al-Atta. He was eliminated, Netanyahu tweeted, along with dozens of terrorists and dozens of important Islamic Jihad infrastructure targets. Israel's consulate in New York released a statement today on the attacks on Israel and the IDF response. Spokesperson Almog Aligis said, as a democratic society obliged to safeguard civilian lives on both sides, Israel's proportionate and measured action protected citizens and increased their resilience, adding that Israel considers the Palestinian Islamic Jihad's use of Palestinian civilians as human shields and its firing at Israeli civilians from within civilian infrastructures a serious double war crime, counter to Palestinian interests. Looking at some other news, Israel's President Reuven Rivlin's office confirmed reports from Israel's Channel 12 News today that he plans to meet with party leaders next week in an effort to prevent a 3rd round of elections in Israel. Rivlin had given the mandate to form a government to blue and white party leader Benny Gantz, who now has just under a week left to do so, with a deadline of November the 20th. And with the relative calm in Israel, political meetings did resume. Yisrael Beitenu chair Avigdor Lieberman met today with Benny Gantz, both saying that neither wants 3rd elections and that they would do everything in their power to prevent that from happening. Gantz said he believes that Netanyahu is heading in that direction, that he is adhering to the bloc of religious and right-wing parties that he is aligned with. Lieberman said he still wanted a clear yes from blue and white that they would accept Rivlin's unity plan, which is believed to allow Netanyahu to serve as prime minister, but have him temporarily step down if he were to be indicted on the fraud cases facing him. Lieberman claims that Netanyahu has rejected Rivlin's plan. Netanyahu later today invited Lieberman for talks this Sunday. There was no reported response from Lieberman as of yet. An arrest has been made in connection with egg-throwing attacks in Brooklyn against members of the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community there. WCBS TV reported that the New York Police Department's Hate Crimes Task Force arrested an 18-year-old from the borough last night. Jewish news website Vozes Nais reported that the teen was charged with 3 hate crimes, including assault and reckless endangerment. The targets of the incidents included a mother and child walking in Borough Park and worshipers leaving a synagogue there. Brooklyn Councilman Chaim Deutsch said, "We are sending a clear message that hatred and bias of any kind will not be tolerated in New York City." Well, the IDF announced the successful completion of Blue Flag 2019, the massive joint military drill held together with the U.S. Air Force, the air forces of Italy, Germany, and Greece. The 10-day exercise also included observers from 6 other countries. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, November the 14th. At 7 o'clock, it's Talmud study. At 8, a discussion on prayer and technology. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with El Al's Yoram El Grabli on L'chaim. At 10, a look at the life and work of Emma Lazarus. And coming up right after this newscast, it's Innovation Israel. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, November the 14th, 2019. I'm Teisha Bader.